Hey everyone, on last episode, Cheyenne and Anchorage asked us what are some games to play on Halloween, and we gave you 3 totally spooktacular games, social games that you could play. Games all about disempowerment and lack of information. Well, not so today, because we are talking about games where you take the fight to the very precipice of evil itself, whether that evil lies in the heart of hell or in the heart of man. We are talking on the Cardboard Cutouts today about 3 totally horrific strategy games. For a lot of players, the first thing that they think of when they think of strategy games is area control, where they get to take their dudes and fight other dudes and have all kinds of smashy war type stuff in order to win the game. And for a lot of people, horror means the deep unknown, the darkness beyond, the great Cthulhu. Why not start with a combination of the two? One of the best representations of both of those things in Cthulhu Wars by Sandy Peterson Games. This is a game where when you take it out of the box, you are going to be astounded and a little bit afraid of the enormous miniatures. You can't even call them miniatures. They're maxitures that come out of the box. The elder ones are these gigantic totems of evil darkness and doom that you're going to grace your table with. And yet, do not be deceived by such meticulously and beautifully crafted miniatures. There is a fantastic game underneath. You see, in Cthulhu Wars, each player is playing a clan, a group, a faction of cultists who are worshiping a different elder one, trying to summon it into the world. You could do battle all along anyway, but it's most fun when you have your really big guy and they have their really big guy and you're fighting. But fighting isn't everything in this game. It's not all aggression. It's actually an incredibly well thought out game where you're trying to collect the most points before the game ends, which is triggered by someone reaching a certain amount of points. And that's going to happen no matter what. There's not going to be a situation where people are just going to stall out the game completely, which is great because that sucks when it happens. The thing that I like best about it, besides the incredibly impressive maxitures, as we've already described, is that this game takes asymmetry beyond anything that I have ever seen in a area control game of its kind, where your faction really feels completely unlike any of the other factions that you could play in the game. If you love Lovecraftian themes, this brings it to a whole nother level. So let's address the rotting elephant in the room. If we're going to talk about horror games, then we're probably going to be talking about zombies at some point. And I know some of you are going to be like, oh, zombie games, they're so 10 years ago. But there's always room for great games regardless of what the theme is. And zombies actually make my next game even better. In this case, it is Dead of Winter by Plaid Hat Games. One of the coolest mashups of great storytelling mechanisms and strategic depth that just makes for a killer session every time that I bring it out. So in Dead of Winter, players are colonists who are trying to work together to survive the winter after a zombie apocalypse, and the most fearsome thing that they're going to have to deal with is each other and the potential of betrayal. Everyone is trying to work towards some sort of shared objective revealed at the beginning of the game, and then everyone else has a secret objective that is just theirs. And hopefully, everyone is going to fulfill their secret objective and the main objective. All the good guys win, except for one of those secret objectives may be a betrayer. You don't know for certain, but when you shuffled them all up, you shuffled a betrayer card in there and you handed them out. So maybe a betrayer is out there, maybe not. Now, that's the main social thrust of the game. Everyone is a little bit suspicious of one another because you are having to make selfish decisions, even if you're a good guy, in order to try and fill your own secret objective, because you don't want to be left behind when the good guys win. And all of this makes for a grand social game, but it has a lot of strategic depth to it. Mechanically, Dead of Winter has all kinds of systems in place that represent the horrific struggle of your colony. People need to be fed, trash needs to be cleaned. Every turn has a new crisis to face, and of course, The ever-present zombies need to be killed before they overrun every safe house in the city. Each of these add enormous pressure for your group to work collaboratively toward, but each also offers the opportunity for betrayers to subtly, or not so subtly, sabotage your plans. From a thematic perspective, the game creates stories. The diverse cast of beautifully rendered characters makes the world feel alive, and your attachment to them adds gravity to your choices. From the terrifying exposure dice that can cause a chain reaction of zombieism and death, to the awesome crossroad card that may or may not trigger during your turn, to the tension-addled decisions that you make as you weigh the fate of your group versus your own secret goal, Dead of Winter is packed full of awesome emergent gameplay. So if you're looking for a game that has really good storytelling, that's both the written storytelling in the game and the emergent storytelling of the tension and sense of betrayal that you have with your opponents as you suspect them of their deviant activities, then I highly recommend Dead of Winter, one of my favorite horror games, period. Cthulhu, zombies, you're not feeling it. You don't want to fight the same old tired tropes coming to you straight out of the public domain, and I get it. I understand. I like fresh themes with cool, unique ideas, and that's why my last pick is Fireteam Zero, one of the coolest themes that I've seen in a board game, but it is a really, really good cooperative game to boot. In Fireteam Zero, you and your friends are soldiers in World War II, but World War II by way of demons, the likes of which you haven't seen since Doom the video game or Doom the movie, which is bad. You shouldn't watch Doom the movie. This is a fully cooperative game. That means that enemies are controlled through an AI system populating on the board and coming after you. Like many dungeon crawls, FTZ has you playing a campaign consisting of several missions, featuring fantastic gritty war stories born straight out of Band of Brothers, but if old Frost and his Howling Commandos were deployed unto the gates of hell. The missions have a wide range of objectives, each with thematic and mechanic elements for you and your comrades to overcome. Throughout each game, new story moments, both random nuggets of macabre and those tied to the overall mission, present new challenges, boons, and horrors. Tensions rise as you fight perilously closer to completing your objective, while endless hordes of demons and undead wear you down. The subtle change from traditional dungeon crawls where you are methodically clearing a floor to a race against time as you compete an objective with endless waves of enemies make this one of the most fresh and intense takes on the genre I've played in ages. Demons in World War II is not a new concept, but it is not something that's really present in board games, and it is refreshing to see something that is not just hordes of undead and Cthulhu. But remember, I really like those games that I mentioned earlier. Those are really good games. Fireteam Zero hits that perfect balance of maintaining great thematic tones while still having satisfying gameplay. Each player's character matters, what abilities they have access to, what cards in their hand, how you play things, and when you play things is incredibly important in this game. Fireteam Zero is a great cooperative game, it's a great dungeon crawl, and it is a great thematic game with a killer, unique theme unlike anything that you've seen in the board game space. So I highly recommend this Halloween you check out Fireteam Zero. All right, that's it. That's our recommendations for Halloween. You've had 3 spooktacular social games and 3 totally horrific strategy games to consider at this point. If you disagree with us, we'd love to hear it. Let us know in the comments below. So stay tuned, subscribe, comment, and let us know what games are you playing this Halloween.